The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Your channel.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sports Insider. My name is Glenn Spillman, and I am your host, coming to you live on Armed Radio Global, nationally and around the world. How's everybody doing on this fine Friday? It's nice and sunny here in California, about 74 degrees. Perfect surf weather. Perfect weather, period, man. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it every single week. We are on from 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern, so we're on from 9 to 10. Before the show, you had Pot Talk. I mean, awesome show, guys. Let me tell you, if you're listening, awesome show again, as usual. And, guys, if you want to listen to us, you can go to tunein.com. Hit the little yellow icon with the headphones, look for Armed Radio. You can go on armedradioglobal.com and check out all of the shows that are on during the week. As I said before, you had Pot Talk with Jim and Paul, that's on before my show. You've got Betrayal, that comes on after my show. Thursday nights, you got Night Talk with Joe Rocks. You got Rock Talk with Amy Chafalo on Tuesdays. You've got All You Could Eat with Rob Rosenthal. So basically, folks, whatever you guys want to listen to, whatever topic you want to listen to, there is something for you. So again, go to armedradioglobal.com. Excuse me. Go to the search bar. You can either hit shows or artists, and you can see all the shows that are on there during the week, what times and what they're about. You can also follow us on Facebook, Armed Radio Group News. You can follow me personally on Facebook, Glenn Spillman. Excuse me. You can text me during the show, ask me questions, make comments. You could tweet me during the show at Sports Insider Online. But the best way, what everyone's been doing, good God, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Swallow the crawfish wrong. You can follow me on Facebook and just direct message me through there. That's what about 80% of the people do during the show. They just direct message me on Facebook. Also, if you guys want to check out some of the books that I've written some. Most of my genre is dark horror, thriller type stuff. So go to Amazon, type in Glenn Spillman, all my books will pop up. I've got one that's going to be released probably here in the next couple of weeks called Blood Spirit. That's one of my favorites. It's part of a 5-book anthology of the novel that I wrote. If you guys want to call in, you can dial 916-420-0697 and call in, ask some questions, whatever. So let's go over some of some rules. There are no rules. That's one good thing about Armed Radio. They do not. What's the word I'm looking for? I cannot think of it right now. It's not segregate. It's what they do to the. I'll think of it here I'll think of it here. Anyways, so some of the scores tonight in Major League Baseball, my team's not doing too well. New York Yankees, they're losing to the White Sox 7-5, bottom of the 5th. Still got about 4 innings to play. The Bronx Bombers can come back. They've been known to do it many times before. You got the Pirates losing to the Nationals, which Nationals are on a hot streak. They're beat the Phillies. They scored 15 runs the other night. They're beating the Pirates 2-1. Tampa Bay Rays slaughtering top of the seventh, the Blue Jays 8-0 with 12 hits. Red Sox, people at Armed Radio are proud of this one. Red Sox are beating the Orioles 3-2, but the Red Sox are 1-1 at home and 4-9 overall. And one other notable game that will happen about 7:10 Pacific time is another team that I follow, the Los Angeles Dodgers, because I am from the city of Angels, so I do follow the Dodgers as well. They're 8-6, playing the Milwaukee Brewers 8-5. So some things that I don't normally talk about is golf. But since you've got the Masters going on, we'll talk a little bit about that and go to the Tiger Woods. He's always the talk of the town. He was tied for 20th yesterday, and today he's all the way up to 6th. The score to beat yesterday is -3. Tiger Woods is -6. He's tied for 6th, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people tied at number 1 with -7. You got Francesco Molinari at -7, Jason Day, Brooks Koepka, Adam Scott, and Luis, I can't even say his last name, Osthusen. If I butchered it, brother, I'm sorry, but he's up from 20 spots from yesterday. And the other two are up 10. One guy that made the biggest jump is Xander Schauffele. He jumped up 38 spots to number 6. And see what Tiger Woods does the rest of his weekend here. If well, I'm sure he will make the cut. Dustin Johnson, one guy that I follow, fell 2 spots. He's -6 as well. Phil Mickelson -4, fell 9 spots, tied for 12th. That's about all I'll talk about the Masters. I mean, it's it is, it's a tournament that a lot of people follow, but I just don't talk too much about it until I get into the weekend. But anyway, I'm done on that. Another notable, Johnny Football, a.k.a. Johnny Manziel, is making his life a little bit more simple, according to him, and according to his name. He will be going by John. Instead of Johnny, it'll be going by Johnny. He says, I have a little update for you. I actually go by John these days. So I'm kind of just turning over the page and moving forward a little bit. End quote. So, I guess being called John makes the guy feel a little bit more adult. Well, brother, if you feel more adult, I hope you start acting more like an adult. He's 26 years old, still acts like he's in college, still parties a lot, parties all the time. And that's one of the reasons why he's getting kicked off these teams all the time. So he suffered a head injury on his final appearance, and which maybe, hopefully, that will knock some sense into his head. And maybe the guy will start, acting more like a adult and not thinking about himself all the time and not being selfish. And actually start playing football and, the way that it was meant to be played, with your team, with your teammates, and not just jacking around. So I will put Johnny Football up on a shelf. I will watch him in the next few weeks to see if he does any shenanigans, because usually when he gets somewhere, it only takes him less than 3 weeks to pull some shenanigans, and we'll see what's up with that. Green Bay, Wisconsin, Aaron Rodgers disputed the notion that he and former Green Bay Packers coach Mike McCarthy couldn't coexist and denied team president Mark Murphy told him not to be the problem when the two discussed the new coach Matt LaFleur. Not to be the problem. Both assertions were made in a story published last week, and it detailed claims of an organization-wide dysfunction. So you got dysfunction in the front office, you got dysfunction on the team, you got dysfunction in the coaching staff, so you got dysfunction in the locker room, you got dysfunction all around. I've said this before. When you've got dysfunction amongst a coach and a player, you're going to have dysfunction amongst the coaching staff and the players in general. Then you're going to have desertion between the offense and the defense, and then you're going to have a split locker room. So, and here's the quote. The thing is about the article, it's not a mystery. This was a smear attack by a writer looking to advance his career, talking with mostly irrelevant, bitter players who have an agenda, and who all have an agenda, whether they're advancing their own careers or just trying to stir stuff up. End quote. This was said by Aaron Rodgers. Continuing the quote. What happens in the same tired media folks picking it up and talking about it just emphasize their opinion about me already. So it's a crazy thing. There's super slanted opinions in that piece stated as facts. And then there's a quote facts, which are just outright lies, end quote. Well, that's the thing about media. Most media. I'm not going to say all media, most media. 95% of media. I'm included in that, but I'm one of the 5%. There's 95% of the media that will take your words, they will twist them, they will turn them, they will make an agenda to where it benefits them as a writer. Me, on the other hand, and I've been noted, there was a story that I wrote about somebody, and I interviewed him, and then I saw him like 6 months later. I'm like, hey man, did you ever get a chance to read the article? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I said some stupid stuff in there, but at least you didn't misquote me. And that's one thing that I could hold proud about myself, is that I will write what you say. I will, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, I'm not going to change anything about it. I'm not going to change a word. I'm going to only put half your quote in there. I will put your entire quote in there. So that's one thing that I like to, hold my head up high, is my integrity. And no one could ever point a finger at me or my journalistic style and say, well, this guy misquoted me, or he's falsifying what I said. That's not what I completely said. So, I feel for Aaron Rodgers. He's got, a bullseye on his back right now, and people are going to jump on the chance to write a story about it. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is when you have a bullseye on your back and when you're a superstar. People are going to write things about you that aren't necessarily true. They're going to take a quote that you said and only put in part of the quote to make you look bad. And that's just the way people do. And it's unfortunate. Former England's rugby union player Christian Wade has signed for the Buffalo Bills this past Monday. Wade quit the English Premier Rugby side Wasps in October to join the NFL's International Pathway program, which offers players from outside of the U.S. a route into the league. The former winger trained alongside 6 other International Pathway prospects and fellow draft hopefuls at a camp in Florida. And Wade, 27 years old, was expected to be up for selection at the NFL draft later this month, but has signed as a free agent for the Bills, who finished with a 6-10 record last season. So, this program, International Pathway Program, allows players from other countries, other sports, other realms to try out for the NFL and to possibly, like this guy, like freaking Christian Wade, to sign as a free agent. Now, he could have went the draft route, and he could have been drafted. Then again, he could not have been drafted. So, get the money while you can, brother, and sign with the team. I mean, 6-10 for the Bills, not a good record, but maybe this guy will bring something to the team that'll make him win a couple more games. Kansas City, Missouri. A citation has been issued against a Missouri man accused of flashing a laser at New England quarterback Tom Brady during the Patriots' AFC Championship game victory over Kansas City Chiefs. Prosecutors said Tuesday that Dwayne Morgan, 64 years old. What are you doing, brother? You're 64 years old. You're at a game. Obviously, you're a Chiefs fan because you're trying to screw up Tom Brady. You're pointing a laser in the dude's face, and you're acting like a child at 64 years old. The guy from Lee Summit, Missouri, faces a single count of disturbing the peace, a municipal violation. The television stations posted footage after the game that showed a green light flashing on Brady late in the Patriots' 37-31 overtime victory on January 20th. Prosecutors say Brady was unaware of the laser. Laser pointers, are banned from most sporting events because of the potential for distraction and safety reasons. The light can damage the retina after even a short period of time. Morgan doesn't have a publicly listed phone number and couldn't be reached by the Associated Press. Well, again, I know you're trying to help your team win, but you know what? If the Chiefs won because Brady was affected by a laser, I mean, that's kind of a cheap way to win. Go out there as a fan, watch the game as a fan. You could heckle all you want, you could scream, you could yell, you could do whatever within reason, and act your freaking age, man. 64 years old instead of 4 years old, and put the laser back in your pants. New England Patriots and kicker Stephen Gostkowski have agreed to a 2-year, $8.5 million deal. So the kicker turned 35, January, 3 months ago. He's been the kicker for the Patriots since the team selected him in the 4th round, 118th overall in the 2006 draft. Number 118. So he replaced Adam Vinatieri, who had signed with the Indianapolis Colts as a free agent that offseason. And I quote, "He showed an incredible amount of maturity and praised his rookie year. He came into probably as difficult situation as any other rookie player I've brought to the team with expectations with him, and obviously with Adam had done before," Belichick said. So, Vinatieri, I thought was a good kicker. I still think he's a good kicker. And that is big shoes to fill. So kind of like Tom Brady, I mean, he had to come in and fill some pretty big shoes. So 13 seasons since Gostkowski has converted 367 of 420 field goal attempts. That's 87.4%. 642 out of 649 point-after attempts. And in 28 career playoff games, he is 39 of 44 on field goals and 88 of 92s on PATs. He's got 3 rings, and when he re-signed with the Patriots and ensured that he will not have to change the kicking game as an unrestricted free agent. And Ryan Allen also re-signed this offseason. And Allen serves as New England's starter and is Gostkowski's holder. So, congratulations, dudes. You have a job next year so far. And We'll see what's up. Pittsburgh. The Steelers still in the drama house. I mean, it's like Real Housewives of Pittsburgh, man. All this freaking drama. The Steelers are tired of the bashing. Veteran guard Ramon Foster has issued a call, basically a PSA on social media, urging ex-Steelers to stop criticizing current players. Quarterback Ben Roethlisberger and wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster are among the targets of criticism in the aftermath of the Antonio Brown trade. And I quote, "Moving forward, any former player or affiliate of the Steelers who has an issue with anyone still in the locker room, please contact me or Marquise Pouncey or anyone else that you feel you could talk to," Foster wrote. "Whoever you have an issue with, we will get you their number so you can address them. I promise these media takes might give y'all good traffic on your social media outlets. The guy is still in the locker room who y'all," this is a quote, "who y'all still know personally have to answer to those comments. Call them what you want, but call them personally and tell them. Defend who you want to defend, but you don't have to mention the team at all," end quote. You know, with the drama, folks, I mean, people are very brave behind a phone, behind a computer screen, and on social media. People will talk a lot of smack. They will talk, whatever they want to say. And they don't have anyone to answer to at that particular moment. You're not in some dude's face saying anything to them. You're behind a screen, whether it's a phone or computer or whatever. An iPad, whatever. I mean, but people like drama. People thrive on drama. I mean, if you listen to a lot of the things that I talk about, it's about drama, and or it's about someone getting arrested or about someone assaulting somebody or something like that. Because, I mean, you can't get away with it. I mean, go on any sports network website and look at their lineup, their media lineup, and look at the drama for yourself. It's out there. It's all over the place. Let's switch to baseball, shall we? Boston Red Sox second baseman Dustin Pedroia, who played in only 3 games last season due to an ongoing knee injury, has been activated off the injury list and will start in the team's home opener Tuesday. The team announced the Red Sox are scheduled to raise their championship banner prior to Tuesday's home opener against the Toronto Blue Jays. So, I like the guy. I mean, I'm not a Boston Red Sox fan at all, but, I mean, I give credit where credit is due. I don't care who you are, team you play for, or whatnot. I like the guy. Sorry that he got injured. Kind of sucks, but I hope I hope he does well, Baltimore Orioles slugger Chris Davis went for 3 on the first 3 plate appearances in a 12-4 win, extending his hitless streak. 47 consecutive at-bats. Hitless. In doing so, he broke a record, not one that he wanted to break, I'm sure. He broke Feli's record for the longest hitless streak by a position player in Major League history. According to data from the Elias Sports Bureau, Feliz, a former utility man, started his streak by going hitless in his final 9 at-bats for the San Francisco Giants during the 2010 season. 2011, his final year in the majors, he had 7 at-bats with the Los Angeles Dodgers and failed to record a hit. I think Jimmy or Paul go out on a home plate, grab a bat, and had 37 times at bats. And put a pitcher out there, and I guarantee you one of them guys will get a hit. 37 at bats. The Trump, I'm not talking politics now. This has to do with sports. The Trump administration scuttled a Major League Baseball's historic agreement with the Cuban Baseball Federation, arguing that the sports governing body is part of the Cuban government and that the agreement violates United States trade law, which is a bunch of crap. In December, MLB and the MLB Players Association announced an agreement with the Cuban Federation similar to those for players under contract in clubs in Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and other places. The league believed would end the defection of players and erase the human trafficking of Cuban players, not human. They're all human players. Cuban players that has become the standard as they attempt to join the MLB. The Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control sent a letter to MLB Friday that said payments to the Cuban Baseball Federation are not authorized because the payment to the Cuban Baseball Federation is the payment to the Cuban government. End quote. The letter was obtained and underscored reversal of policy from former President Barack Obama's administration that intended to soften relations between the U.S. and Cuba. After announcing the agreement in December, blowback in Washington prompted MLB to outline in a 10-page letter argument in favor of the agreement. So, they're saying that these Cuban players are part of the Cuban, why do I keep saying human? Jeez. I'm not even high. The Cuban government is absolutely freaking ludicrous. You know what, man? The Trump administration has been not only scuttling Major League Baseball's historic agreement with Cuba, but a lot of other freaking stuff that he does on a daily basis, and that's all I'll say about that. Anaheim, California, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim star outfielder Mike Trout is day-to-day after straining his right groin during a game against the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, I can tell you, I've had a groin injury before. I was playing baseball, I was playing third base, and I had a ball go over my head, and I went to jump for it, pulled the groin muscle, could barely even walk for a few days. And those are hard to get over. I mean, especially, he's playing center field. You got to have explosive movements. You know, when the ball's hit, you got to have explosive movements up, back, side to side. And, it is, it's a hard injury to get over. But, after talking to the doctors, it was a pretty good thing that I came out in a quote, I just have to get it right, and when I'm 100%, I will play. That's what Mike Trout said. I hope the guy plays. He's one of my favorite players in baseball. I wish he played for more of a contending team, like the Dodgers, Yankees, even the Red Sox for that matter. But we'll see. It's day-to-day, but again, the groin is depending on how severe he injured it, it's a hard injury to get over. Here's an interesting story. A woman is suing the Houston Astros for more than $1 million, claiming her finger was broken when she was hit by a shirt from the T-shirt cannon fired at close range by the team's mascot. This happened last season. Jennifer Hardy says in the suit that her left index finger was shattered. Shattered? Really? Really shattered? You got 3 bones there, brother. Shattered. Come on. Alright, was shattered on July 8, 2018 when she was hit by a shirt from the cannon. Hardy, who was sitting in the middle of the first deck behind the third baseline, says she had 2 surgeries on the finger, but still is impaired range of movement. Party filed a lawsuit against the Astros on Monday, alleging the organization was negligent, failed to warn fans about the risk associated with the cannon, didn't properly train staff on the equipment, and failed to enact policies to ensure fan safety. And this is a quote from the Astros. The Astros are aware of the lawsuit with allegations regarding Orbit's t-shirt launcher. The team said in a statement, "We do not agree with the allegations. The Astros will continue to use fan popular t-shirt launchers during games. As this is an ongoing legal matter, we have no further comment on this matter." End quote. All right. First off, let's break this down. So, they failed to warn fans. Well, listen to me, idiot. And I'm speaking to you, Jennifer. On the back of every Major League Baseball ticket, and every Major League Baseball team, and every Major League Baseball stadium, and every Major League Baseball city, read the back of the ticket. It strictly warns you about flying objects. Not just baseballs, bats, but objects. Look up the word in Webster's dictionary and what an object is. An object can be anything that is tangible. And if you don't know what tangible means, tangible is something that you can touch, feel, and see. Okay? So, brother, you're the one that's negligent here. You know, they didn't properly train staff on the equipment. How do you know that? Unless you are a witch, a Wiccan, a bruja, whatever you want to call yourself, and you summon the almighty spirits, and you have some sort of cosmic freaking, power to know what goes on, how do you know that they didn't train on equipment? And how do you know that they didn't enact policies to ensure fan safety? I'm going back to my first statement here. An enacted policy to ensure fan safety is what's written on the back of a freaking ticket. I wish I had a ticket on me right now and I would read it to you. It is printed on the back of every ticket. And $1 million. You know what? I hope you get nothing. I hope the Astros don't give her hush money. I hope you get nothing. I hope that you get banned from the ballpark and you can't go back to Minute Maid Ballpark anymore. And quit going to games because it is your responsibility as a fan to pay attention. I bet, I'm a betting man, I bet you that she wasn't paying attention. I bet you that she was probably talking to one of her friends, gossiping, or she was texting on her phone or something and not even paying attention and somehow got hit by the t-shirt. Or maybe she went up to catch it, wasn't paying attention, and to her own fault, hurt her own finger. That just pisses me off when I see stuff like this. I mean, fans that don't pay attention, they get hurt at a sporting event, and then they want to sue everybody. Freaking moron, piss off. That's all I'll say about her. Let's go to NBA, shall we? Utah Jazz guard Kyle Korver reflected on race relations in America and pondered his position as a white man playing in the NBA. In the piece titled Privileged, Korver touched on the variety of race-related topics and shared his own experiences, citing a 2015 arrest of a teammate and a racial incident last month involving Thunder star Russell Westbrook with a fan in Utah. I talked about that. And he's quoted saying, "There's an elephant in the room that I've been thinking about a lot over the past few weeks. It's the fact that demographically, if we're being honest, I have more in common with the fans in the crowd, average NBA game, than I have with the players on the court. His privilege, Korver's privilege, on multiple occasions in the piece, writing that as a white man, he has the option to engage or disengage in the fight against racism. He goes on to say, what I'm realizing is no matter how passionately I commit to being an ally, no matter how unwavering my support is for NBA and the WNBA players of color, I'm still in this conversation from the privileged perspective of opting into it. Which of course means, on the flip side, I could just as easily opt out of it. Every day I'm given a choice, I'm granted that privilege based on the color of my skin, end quote. Well, then, there now. Yes, you have all this racism going on in sports. And you've got, there's racism everywhere, man. I mean, it's here. It's not going anywhere, obviously. And it's unfortunate that you got fans out in the arena that kind of cross over the line. But when a fan crosses over the line, you can come back with something witty. You don't have to be threatening like Westbrook was. You could be witty. Say something back, Los Angeles Lakers guard Lonzo Ball has committed to work with Creative Artists Agency after mutually parting ways with his previous agent, Harrison Gaines, last week. I talked about that last week. So with CAA now in place to manage my basketball career, I can focus my attention and energy on training for the upcoming season. End quote. Well, I hope that you go somewhere else and are not in LA, because I don't think you're that good of a basketball player. And I'm sure everybody heard a couple days ago, Magic Johnson steps down as Lakers president. Now, he said that he wanted to be Magic. He wanted to, be his own person and be himself and not be fined on every little, thing that he says or does. And so he stepped down. I commend him for that. I honestly think that he should try one more time. I think he should try coaching. Bring some supporting cast in with LeBron and try coaching next year and see what happens. That's what I think. I mean, it's not going to happen, but that would be cool. Big names are retiring this year. Dwayne Wade made sure his final game in Wade, it's called Dade County, but it's called Wade County for Dwayne Wade. He spent the vast majority of his 16 years and has become the most beloved athlete in the city's history. And after going through an emotional pregame ceremony, Wade went out and scored 30 points in 34 minutes Tuesday night, led the Heat 122-99 victory over the Philadelphia 76ers. And while the win wasn't enough to keep Miami's slim playoff hopes alive, were extinguished the same evening when the Detroit Pistons pulled off a 20-point comeback in the second half to go up on the Grizzlies. Wade says, "It's meant everything," he said after the game, "to be able to come here and be embraced, to find a home, and to be able to grow. I think that's the one thing. When I was on the court earlier and Stan Van Gundy let me grow as a player, to whether it was mistakes I made in life or whatever it was, the city has allowed me to grow. I hope they are proud of what they have helped me become. This city means everything to me. It's forever, forever, forever going to be my home." End quote. Well, I'm a Dwayne Wade fan. I think the guy's got class both on and off the court, I mean, he's got a couple of rings. And, he went out a winner. I mean, granted, they didn't make the playoffs, but they won the last game, scored 30 points, and he goes out basically a winner on top. And another notable name that pretty much the same night, Dallas, Dirk Nowitzki, he refused to go on a retirement tour, but didn't really have a choice. His career was celebrated Tuesday night, and what he confirmed afterward was the final game of his career. It started the second that Nowitzki stepped out of his car after playing at the American Airlines Center parking garage for the Dallas Mavericks. Team employees formed true lines that Nowitzki walked through, and he gave high fives to each side on his way to the locker room. It continued throughout the game with his teammates force-feeding Nowitzki, who launched 8 shots on the Mavs' first 7 possessions. He finished with a season-high 30 points, 11 of 31 shooting, and the 120-109, which is kind of similar to the 122-99 victory of the Miami Heat over the Phoenix Suns. Nowitzki's 40 years old, and he was surprised and overwhelmed when 5 of his childhood Hoops heroes, Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, Larry Bird, Swamp Kemp, and Detlef Schrempf, Schrempf. What the crap kind of name is that? Anyway, they walked out to midcourt and each delivered a brief tribute message. Mavericks coach Rick Carlisle and owner Mark Cuban also gave speeches honoring Nowitzki's before number 41 finally got the microphone and casually mentioned that he was hanging up his Nikes. Well, I've liked Nowitzki. I mean, he's a quiet basketball player, powerful basketball player, great basketball player. He's got a championship, ring. So that helps. And you know what? On his final game, he also won, and he also is going out on top on his final game. And that's pretty cool. So, sayonara, stay la vie, goodbye, right off into the sunset, Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki. Hope you guys have good after basketball careers, and we'll see what we hear from these guys in the future. Sacramento Kings, last thing on the NBA. Sacramento Kings general manager A. Divac is seeking to consolidate his strength in position as the franchise's top basketball executive in weighing a dismissal of coach Dave Joerger. So, the coach's contract is extended through the 22-23 season. Thursday, they fired the assistant GM Brandon Williams Thursday morning, and Divac plans to meet with players immediately after meeting with the coach and could end his tenure as coach. Coaches don't last long, man. And again, the players, it's the coach. Which is unfortunate, and I've always said this and I will continue to say it. It's unfortunate that the coaches have to... that's some good coffee. Coaches have to go. In NCAA action, Kentucky Wildcats sophomore forward P.J. Washington, the team's leading scorer rebounder this season, is entering the NBA draft. He announced on social media Tuesday. Washington thanked his Kentucky coaches, teammates, and fans for helping a kid from Dallas see his dreams come true. He averaged 15.2 points, 7.5 rebounds for the Wildcats during the regular season. He missed the first 2 games of the NCAA tournament with a sprained foot, but returned to score 16 points in a Sweet 16 victory over Houston and had 28 points, 13 rebounds, and an overtime loss to Auburn in the Elite Eight. He's ranked number 15 overall, and the NBA draft will be held on June 20th. So I guess we shall see And I can't fault the guy, man. I mean, when you go and you have a chance to get millions of dollars, I cannot fault a player for leaving school and going, because, you know, he can go back and finish school and he can get injured. You know, he could, and if you get injured, then what do? Then there goes your hopes for, you know, anything in in your life. I mean, got a college degree, but, you know, I don't fault the kid for taking the money. That's what I'm trying to say. MMA, Jorge Masvidal got his wish. A highly anticipated welterweight fight between Masvidal and Ben Askren is expected to finalize shortly for the UFC 239 in Las Vegas on July 6th. UFC was originally hoping to book the fight for UFC 238 on June 8th in Chicago. However, that date didn't work for Masvidal, so he countered with UFC 239. So you got Masvidal 33-13. He knocked out Darren Till last month in London, which snapped a 2-fight losing streak. Event, which will be held at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, is scheduled to be co-headlined by John Jones versus Thiago Santos, and light heavyweight title Amanda Nunes versus Holly Holm for the bantamweight title. Now, John Jones versus Thiago. I'll talk about John Jones again here in a minute when I get to the TJ Dillashaw show story, because this guy has tested dirty more than once. But Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm. I mean, Holly Holm's a kickboxer, so she's got a good stand-up game. Amanda Nunes has a good stand-up game, but I tell you what, man, Amanda Nunes is a freaking beast. I'm not saying Holly Holm can't fight, because she can. He beat the crap out of Ronda Rousey. But Amanda Nunes is a freaking beast. So, I'm a betting man. I'm going to put all my money on Amanda Nunes. So, while former two-time boxing world champion Paulie Malignaggi and Artem Lobov, formerly of the UFC, are not scheduled to fight just yet, they nearly did Tuesday afternoon at Mendez Boxing in New York during a media day for Bare Knuckle FC. As the two got in each other's face, Malignaggi, after the 2-year retirement from boxing, will participate in the Knuckle FC, slapped the dude, and which has faced Jason Knight this weekend in Biloxi, Mississippi, and he said, and I quote, "You bitch, the next time it's a harder slap. That was a bitch slap for a bitch. Don't get in my face and make threats here, okay?" He continued, "I got in your face to promote, and don't get into my face with threats, because I'll fuck you up here, okay? Next time I'll smack the shit out of you, for real. I smacked you like a little bitch because that's what you are." End quote. Whoa. I saw that video, and pretty freaking intense, man. And I smacked you like a little bitch because that's what you are. Man, if that's not fuel for the fire, I don't know what is. Moscow, Khabib doesn't think Conor McGregor's retirement is for real. McGregor said last week that he was doing mixed martial arts, but Khabib, who beat the Irish fighter for the UFC lightweight title in October, isn't buying it. Speaking in his native Russian at Moscow University, Khabib said McGregor couldn't reach the deal with the UFC, and it's so they feel they lost him and they could lose money. I don't think he's finished, Khabib said. McGregor previously retired in April this month, 2016, 3 years ago. but reversed the decision 2 days later and returned to the UFC. The 30-year-old Irishman hasn't won a fight since beating Eddie Alvarez November 2016 to become the first fighter to hold a championship belt in two divisions at once. Well, Conor McGregor not only has not won a fight, he's lost the fights in bitch style. Tap out, knockout, you know. I mean, I would rather be choked out than to tap out, you know. But, and speaking of McGregor, the whole debacle that happened with the cell phone and all that, the man who sued McGregor for allegedly smashing his cell phone on March 11th dropped a civil suit against the UFC star, according to online records. The lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice in a Miami-Dade County court on Monday at the request of Ahmed, who had sought at least $15,000 in damages. Okay, I can almost guarantee you, I can't guarantee, but I can almost guarantee you, the suit was dropped because people from the Conor McGregor camp gave the dude some hush money and said, look, we don't want this lawsuit on record. You drop the lawsuit and we'll give you X amount of money. I could pretty much guarantee you that's what happened. Yeah, that's what I think happened. UFC is targeting two important bantamweight fights for their upcoming return to Chicago. Sterling versus Pedro Munoz and Jimmy Rivera versus Peter Yan are scheduled for UFC 238 on June 8th. The fights haven't been signed just yet, but have been verbally agreed to. Both Sterling and Munoz will enter the bout on a 3-fight win streak. Sterling recently defeated Rivera in February. Munoz knocked out former bantamweight Cody Garbrandt last month. Yan, 12-1, has won 7 in a row overall and is a perfect 4-0 since joining the UFC last year. Those will be pretty decent fights, I think. And some bull crap that I think is going on. There's some shenanigans going on, and there's some bullcrap going on. The United States Anti-Doping Agency has suspended former UFC champion T.J. Dillashaw for 2 years, not 2 months, 2 years, for testing positive for recombinant human erythropoietin, EPO, before a flyweight title fight against Henry Cueto in January 19th in New York. USADA officials announced the suspension, which Dillashaw did not contest, on Tuesday. The news comes less than 1 month after Dillashaw willingly relinquished his bantamweight championship, which the UFC almost certainly would have stripped him based on Tuesday's announcement. Here's a quote. Let me get this quote correct. I don't want to mess it up. We all know the pressures to win at all levels of the sport are real intense, said a USADA CEO Travis Eigert said in a statement. It is exactly why strong anti-doping efforts are necessary to protect clean athletes' rights, health, and safety, to ensure that those who do succumb to these pressures and decide to break the rules will be held accountable in real meaningful way, as in this case, end quote. Well, okay. John Jones is tested dirty, and he still gets to fight. Brock Lesnar tested dirty, still got to fight, and still got paid, mind you. There's several other fighters that tested dirty and didn't get suspended. This suspension, I could understand, 6 months. I could understand, maybe a few fights, but for 2 years? I mean, come on now, that's a bit harsh. That's a bit whack, if you ask me. So I'm not a proponent of, doing any kind of drugs, any kind of steroids. You know, I mean, I do like steroids. I do support them. I do think if you want to do them, do them. But if you are fighting in a sport that has USADA guidelines and that's on the list of things not to do, then don't freaking do it. Anyway, folks, we are coming to the end of the show, and I want to let everybody know that after this show, we've got Betrayal, so stay tuned on that. And if you want to go to Armed Radio Global, again, you can see all the shows that are going on there. You can follow us on Facebook, Armed Radio Group News, or follow me personally, Glenn Spillman, and you could text me throughout the show, ask your questions. We didn't have any questions asked tonight. I guess people are catching the show on Spreaker, and that's another thing. If you missed the show or any of the shows, you can go to Spreaker.com and you can type in Sports Insider, and you can listen to not only this show, but any other show out there. I want to thank everyone for tuning in.
Wake up.
Again, my name is Glenn Spillman, and I hope you guys have a good weekend. Be safe. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. I will see you guys next week. Peace out.